You're listening to the Badasses, Boobs, and Body Counts podcast, the show that takes you through the lesser-known worlds of action, exploitation, and horror cult cinema.
You're no better than the girl who sells herself to a man. You're worse. And now little Miss Bucket is in trouble, and she's all outraged virtue.
I have a drug here, LSD. Perhaps you've heard of it.
And you listen well. You're damaged merchandise, and this is a fire sale.
Well, Frank, looks like one of those long, hard ones.
Have you ever had an Egyptian feast?
Greg, look at your hand. Our hands are bleeding. It's my cat. He's doing it.
Down inside, you're dirty. Do you hear me? Dirty.
Hello and welcome to the Badasses, Boobs, and Body Counts podcast. I am Iris the Spider Witch, and with me as always is Mike the Mad Trucker from Kapow.
Hi, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Not only to you, but to all of our listeners as well.
Yeah.
This is the first episode of the year. It's January 4th, 2015, as we record this.
I know, isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is weird. This is officially, we're moving into the third year of the show. I mean, we're kind of moved into the third year of the show after we're in the third year of the show, so. So what did you end up doing on New Year's Eve, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, our neighbors, we all get together, and there was 15 of us hit this poor little Chinese restaurant and took over the place. And then we came back to one of the neighbors' houses, and we hung out until midnight, fired off some fireworks, and then everybody went home.
So you actually made it up, huh?
Yeah, I did.
Remember I jokingly said I'd fall asleep about 9:30?
You did, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I just don't do the midnight thing. It doesn't really mean anything to me anymore.
Well, you know what, though? If you're around people and you're having fun and goofing off, yeah. But if it was just I'm waiting for midnight, I'd say, fuck it, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, that was the case. I wasn't even saying I'm waiting till midnight. It's just another night, honestly. It's a day off from work, which is great, but honestly, it's just another night. I can drink anytime, and, I'm not as young as I used to be, and I don't have young friends or old friends for that matter, who drink a lot, so... Yeah, so it was overall a uneventful New Year's, which, I watched a few shitty movies, and that's what we do, so.
Hey, what a better way to ring in the year with shitty movies.
Yeah, well, happy 2015, everybody.
Yes.
Let's take care of some house cleaning before moving on to our film this week. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
So I posted this in our Facebook group earlier in the week, and I thought I'd share the news with the people who aren't in that group and to the people who listen to the show. We just finished, I'm going to read this verbatim. So
okay.
We just finished up an amazing month on the BBandBC Podcast. December of 2014 saw the single most downloads the show has ever received for a 1 month period. In December, we went on a David Dakota rampage and covered Creepazoids, Bigfoot versus DB Cooper, Nightmare Sisters, Dream Maniac, and Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bolorama. This program really helped drive those numbers. Along with December being a banner month, the show more than doubled its audience size in 2014. The listener base grew by 101% over 2013. That blows me away when I did those numbers.
That's amazing.
We doubled our downloads.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, it is. So a huge thank you to those of you who subscribed via iTunes and to those who occasionally listen to Iris and I ramble about the films we love that most people overlook.
Mm-hmm.
Good news. I just wanted to share that with the listeners. So, considering we're a niche show,
yeah,
we see a decent amount of downloads. We are far above more than double above the average that your Libsyn hosted show sees every month.
You're kidding. That's awesome.
We more than double the average show hosted on Libsyn. So
That's awesome. Thank you very much, listeners.
yeah. So now that 2014 is behind us, I'm moving on to the next piece of house cleaning. Now that the year is behind us, it's time for you and I to do our top and bottom 5 of 2014. I hope you're at least starting to compile those 2 lists.
I am.
This is going to be discussed via a bonus episode likely to drop at the end of this month, January 2015. This episode is going to feature our top and bottom 5 first-time watches for 2014. We're going to be discussing, well, our top and bottom 5 of the year. So this episode is only going to work if the listeners contribute. And I want to talk about how the listeners can contribute now.
Oh, go for it.
You can join us live on the show if you've never done podcasting. If you want to connect with us via Skype or a telephone, contact me via Facebook. We're going to need about 10 minutes of your time to discuss your list. You can call our voicemail line to leave your top 5 and bottom 5 first-time watches. Our number there is 702-751-7469. You can send your top 5 and bottom 5 watches to us in an MP3. Just send it to BBandBC Podcast at yahoo.com. You can send your top and bottom 5 first-time watches via email, the old-fashioned way. Type them in. Send it to the same email address, BBandBC Podcast at yahoo.com. You can actually leave your list in our Facebook group located at facebook.com/groups/BBandBC. Just look for the pinned post there. We're going to record this on January 24th at 9 p.m. So
Okay, sounds good.
yeah, you're going to have to get those lists in, 24 hours before that.
Now, this is the first time watch.
Yeah, I guess we should probably define this, right? Mm-hmm. So top 5 films that you saw for the first time that really surprised you. Bottom 5 films you were really disappointed with after watching. Again, first time watches in both cases. Everybody does a top 10 list at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. I think this is a little different for us.
Yeah, we like to mix it up.
I like to be a little bit different. Mm-hmm. I will say, if you're going to join us live, we are on the West Coast, so we're in the Pacific time zone. If you're living in New York, we'll fit you in first. If
Yes.
you're living in California, we'll fit you in last. We may not fit anybody in if no one wants to join us live, but I'm going to reach out to certain individuals in a week or two to try to set some of this stuff up.
Awesome.
So regardless of how you contribute, we need everything, or we need your contributions, I would say no later than noon on the 23rd of January.
Cool. I mean, it's very doable, folks.
Yeah, I mean, just getting onto our Facebook group alone and typing in your top 5 and bottom 5 first-time watches for the year is pretty simple. Sending an email, basically the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. And we'd like to actually try to get some people on live, and I think that'll add a lot to the show. We're not going to discuss any movies per se, in the context that we usually do. We're just going to talk about our list.
Sweet. So don't be shy, peeps.
That's it. That's all the house cleaning I have. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think probably at the end.
Okay. So before we move into the film we're going to discuss this week, I want to introduce our new bi-monthly segment.
Okay.
This is new to you. I haven't even talked to you about this.
Yes, I know. This is new to me.
So twice per month, we're going to give away a DVD or a Blu-ray from my massive collection. These will likely be movies in which I have duplicates of or will never watch again. A good example of that would be D.B. Cooper versus Bigfoot.
Right on.
It's a brand new DVD. It's open, but I'm never going to watch that movie again. Yeah, no, I'm probably never going to revisit that. These are used, however, they're like in new condition in most cases. This week, we're giving away the Exorcist Anthology on Blu-ray.
I know.
This is a brand new DVD. I bought it a month ago. I watched all the movies, and I already own the Exorcist on Blu, the single film, the first film. And I'm never going to visit those other films ever again. So there's no reason for me to have the anthology. I'm just going to stick with my little, my other single Exorcist Blu-ray.
All right.
So with that, I'm going to play a clip from a film that we've covered on the show in the past. Mm-hmm. After that plays, and if you know what movie the film clip is from, all you have to do is email us at the show at BBandBC Podcast at yahoo.com with your name, the name of the movie the clip is from, and your physical mailing address. If we get more than one entry per segment, the winner will be randomly selected out of those entries. And now, if you were a guest on that episode that the clip comes from, you're not eligible for the giveaway. Because I had a guest on for this episode.
Oh, okay.
This person's going to know what the movie is, and he or she is not going to be eligible for that.
Okay.
So here's that clip, and good luck naming it from this. We haven't even really named this segment yet. We'll have to think of something.
Yeah, we will.
We'll have to think of something and get maybe Mark Searing to put us together a little intro clip or something.
Did they ever give you the night off, Beverly?
9 to 5 looks so good right now.
Oh, no one ever told you being a cop would be easy.
Hey, Luke, take a look at that chump over there.
Yeah, I know. She's into the little boys. I don't know if she's seeing them. She needs to get herself a real man.
Oh, I see we got a couple of new show-offs working out. Wonder how things are working out back at the Chamberlain place.
All right, well, this week, Iris and I are going to discuss the Steve Wang-directed film Kung Fu Rascals from 1992. Before breaking into our discussion, we're going to play an interview we conducted with one of the stars of the film, Troy Fromin. We spoke with Troy about his role in the film, about the time he spent on Return of the Living Dead Part 2, Phantasm 2, and other various TV shows he appeared in during his career. Let's go ahead and play that interview right now. Joining us for this Kung Fu Rascals episode is none other than actor extraordinaire, Troy Fromin. Troy plays a part of Leo Z in this fantasy action-oriented slapstick comedy. Welcome, Troy. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks a lot, Mike Murphy. I've been enjoying your posts on Facebook, and I'm glad that you and I have gotten to a relationship, and you found out about my past and realized that I was worth interviewing.
Yeah, no, absolutely you are. So before we get knee-deep into Kung Fu Rascals, I want to briefly touch down on some of the stuff you've been in, and then follow up.
Well, before I say anything, before we go on, I realize that your co-host, Iris, is a foxy lesbian, right?
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
Can I just say that I'm not wearing pants, and if she could do most of the talking, I'd appreciate it.
That's
no problem.
probably not going to happen, but...
Oh. Well, my wife just came to the room, so never mind that plan.
I appreciate the
All right,
sentiment,
ahead,
and I'm
go
sure
ahead.
Iris is very flattered over that.
Oh, I'll give you my sexy voice anyway.
There you go.
Oh.
So, Troy,
All right, go ahead.
you've appeared in films such as Return of the Living Dead, Phantasm 2, Street Soldiers, and Class of Nukem High Part 2, and popular TV series such as Who's the Boss, Perfect Strangers, Life Goes On, Saved by the Bell. How exactly did you become interested in acting?
All right, let me just correct you on one thing before I go on to that. It was Return of the Living Dead Part 2.
I'm sorry, you're absolutely correct.
All right, just want to clear that up.
And you were the pot-smoking truck driver, which was class.
That's right. Well, I'll go. You want to know how I got started? First of all, was
Yes.
basically you and Iris and everybody else who's listening to this show is all interested in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. So ever since I was a little kid, I saw everything I could on TV: Twilight Zone, Addams Family, Monsters, Star Trek, you name it, Battlestar Galactica, everything. I just couldn't get enough of it. And I decided at the age of 14, my goal in life was to be in a horror film. So I kept following that dream, and then after I graduated high school, I said, I got to do something about this. And I was on the newsstands next to Fangoria and Starlog, this magazine called Dramalog. I picked it up, and in the back were these listings of, we need this for this movie or this for this movie. So I got headshots done, and I started sending myself out on these calls. And I eventually got student films and low-budget short films and eventually non-union films. I just growed from Dramalog. I looked at Dramalog, I think, at the beginning.
Dramalog, okay. That's the first time I've heard of that.
Really? It goes back, I'm almost 48. This goes back to, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was a casting newspaper. This is before the internet. Everything was done, sending by mules and pigeons and stuff.
Snail
You know
mail,
what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the answer to Return of the Living Dead Part 2 is there was actually an advertisement in the LA Times looking for extras as zombies and soldiers to play in the background. So, I went there, and before I went there, I picked up some calves brains at the market, and I said to them, if you want, I'll eat these in front of you. I want to be in this movie. They said, no, just write your name down. You're in it. So I spent 5-6 nights just in the cool temperatures in the Sierra Madre playing zombies and soldiers in the background. And one day I got a call from the lady, Paula, who was casting her husband, Paula Fox and her husband. They were the producer, and she said, Troy, you worked so hard for us. I'm going to make you the pot-smoking driver at the beginning of the movie. How would you like that? And okay, that's fine with me. So that's where that happened, by luck.
I think you're the first guy seen in the film, correct?
Well, basically. There's one guy with a lantern, and then it comes to me smoking the joint.
And Return of the Living Dead was the first feature film that you were in, correct?
Return of the Living Dead 2.
I'm sorry.
Part 2.
Part 2. I'll get it straight. I promise.
Besides maybe some low-budget movies that nobody's heard of, that's the first time I ever saw myself on screen.
So as far as TV versus film goes, which do you prefer to work in and why?
I like film because, if you mess up, it's no big deal. There's no live audience or whatever. And I don't know. I just prefer film. Like when I worked on Shrunken Heads for Full Moons, that was my dream movie that I worked on because I co-starred in it and I was treated like a movie star. I had my own trailer, worked on the Paramount lot, and I like that. And TV, sometimes TV's the same because like shows like The Wonder Years, which I was on also, it's shot like a movie. But then when you go to your sitcoms and the live audience is there and you get nervous and you mess up your lines, it's like, oh God, reset for Troy,
Oh, wow.
They make you pay for the mistake, it sounds like.
Everybody F's up. So, I'm not the only one.
Okay, so one of your more notable TV roles is that of Ox from Saved by the Bell. How did you land that role, and what was your experience like during the run of that show?
Okay, that's cool. Well, I had a manager and an agent at the time, and she called me up and said, you try out for this guy. Before Ox, it was a character named Scud. Go try out for Scud. He's like a punk kind of guy, a mean kind of bully. So I went in there, and I nailed that. So I was in the first episode of mine was called No Hope with Dope, and I get blamed for smoking the joint in the bathroom, but it wasn't me. It was the guys doing the commercial to school, and that was cool. And then they gave me a call the next day and said, Troy, they like you so much, but they don't want you to do that character anymore. They want to try you out as a dumb football guy named Ox. So just go in there. It's just preliminary. 99.9, it's yours. So I went in there, I just did the lines, and bam, it was mine. So my first episode was the one where Mario's like, it was where the teachers and the students switch roles.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, so then after that, each week they just kept calling me back and writing me in because they liked me so much. So I ended up doing 8 of them as Ox and 1 of them as Scud. And then all of a sudden, it ended. The show was, it was over. Mm-hmm. And they said, oh, we're going to bring you back and do the Hawaii movie. We're going to bring you to Hawaii. But I guess they didn't have the budget, and they never called me on that.
So and that's the difference between TV and film is when you're involved with a film, you have a part, and it's over with. That's it. You'll walk away from it. TV, you just never really know whether it's going to last or not, right? And when it's over, it's over.
That's true. Because on the Wonder Years, they brought me back a second time. They wanted to bring me back a third time, but I already had a booking with Saved by the Bell. So Wonder Years got pissed at me and didn't call me back anymore. So that was quite a conundrum for that 1 week. They both wanted me.
So let's discuss Kung Fu Rascals a little bit.
Yes.
This is a pretty big role for you as you really get a lot of screen time. How did you get involved with this project?
Okay, one day, a director that I worked with, his name is Donald G. Jackson. Have you ever heard of him?
No, I haven't.
If you look back, he did the Rollerblade movie and the Hell Comes to Frogtown.
I am familiar with the 2 films, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So in Dramalog, I saw an ad for a feature film, Psycho. And so I went in there, I read for it, and the same day I walked out with a script. And I was driving home in my car, and there was a script on my seat. And I go, you know what? SNA. I just accomplished my goal. I am a psycho in a horror film, thanks to Donald G. Jackson. So I did that movie for him. Then one day he calls me back. He calls me, he goes, Steve Wang, he's an up-and-coming director who did The Mask, the Frogheads for Hell Comes to Frogtown. And he's going to be a big name someday. He's looking for someone of your stature to play a white karate guy with these 2 Asian guys in this movie called Kung Fu Rascals. And he says, it doesn't pay anything, but I suggest you do it. So I called Steve, and basically all I had to do was meet him. He put the wig on me, the costume on me, and it fit. It fit. So he says, okay, you're in. So ever since then, we shot on we shot on weekends before I had to go to work at my dad's deli. During the course of a year, we just fit in whatever hours I could in the mornings, and then we did some night shoots for the interior scenes. And after a year, it was shot, and then we went back in and did like 3 days of audio, where they did all the audio effects, music, everything.
Was this a physical role for you?
The physical role was helping them bring. Okay, there's this beach called Matador Beach, a little bit past Malibu. And it's got a long staircase down from the parking lot to the sand. So the most physical part was to help them bring the dolly track and all their equipment from the parking lot to the sand, like 10 times up and down. But back then I was fit and I can handle it.
Yeah, sure.
So the part of Lao Zi is similar to that of, let's say, Curly from the Three Stooges. Where did this character inspiration come from?
Well, Steve Wang told me that my idol in my head was Bruce Lee. Like if you see at the beginning, I'm putting on my hair and stuff, and then the back of the mirror was Bruce Lee's picture. And I go, perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to be worshiping Bruce Lee in what he does in my mind in the movie. I don't know. It's a weird world that it's set in.
No, it is an odd world. It's a mix of slapstick comedy. It's some fantasy. It's martial arts. There's kung fu. It actually feels like an actual Chinese-produced comedy is what it feels like. So whoever was responsible for doing all the ADR and putting the sound and the music together did a really good job, because I'm sitting here thinking, is this actually a Chinese-produced film or is this an American-produced film? And I think it's an American-produced film.
Well, Steve Wang is Chinese, and his father backed the movie. His father put up the money for it, which I think was like $30,000 or $40,000 at the most.
Wow.
And by the way, back then, Steve Wang and his buddies, I don't know, years before, they did a really sloppy version of it, but I never saw that.
So this was a second attempt for him at this film, and I'm assuming it worked for him.
Yeah, because he had all his friends in the mold makers. They're all in on this as a big troupe. And let me just tell you, the guy who played the sheriff, Les Claypool.
Yes.
He's the one who had the audio studio. He's the one who did all the sound, all the ADR.
Oh, wow.
So hats off to him. I mean, the film actually sounds and feels like a Chinese-produced film. Due to him,
yeah,
I guess.
really.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
It works real well for the movie. So were there any scenes that you recall being overly difficult to pull off?
No, just the stuff at the beach was a bitch because of the sand and all that, But nothing was too terrible. I had fun with the whole thing. I loved working on it, and I have fond memories of it. It's one of my favorite times as an actor is thinking about that show.
Yeah.
Right on. So, what was Steve Wang like to work with, and do you have any idea what he's up to these days?
Well, yeah. Well, Steve Wang was easygoing. He would listen to suggestions from me, but basically, each day I didn't know what I was going to do. So, he'd say, okay, here's your dialogue for this scene. Here's your dialogue for that scene. And, it was a very easygoing. And he went on to direct a movie called The Guyver.
Oh, yeah.
Well aware of it.
And Guyver, Dark Hero. And
Yeah, I've seen both.
I was supposed to be in The Guyver. And a low-budget movie came up that wanted me as a lead as a vampire that never panned out. Everything's on the cutting room floor. And I kick myself in the ass each day because I could have had a part in The Guyver with, a SAG contract and residuals. And he also did a movie called Drive, an action movie with Mark, I can't remember, Mark something. DeCass, I don't know. You can look that up. And then ever since that, he went on to his own company where he sculpts creatures and effects and stuff, and he has a catalog. If you look him up and find his catalog, you'll be amazed.
So, is there anything else you want to say about Kung Fu Rascals or possibly any fun stories to share with the listeners?
I can't remember any fun stories, really. It was all really great. And the person that cracks me up the most in the whole movie is Ted Smith, who played Darling. Every time I watch him, I just crack up. I can't stop cracking up.
Were you in any of the costumes in the fantasy half of the film?
No, just the one costume.
Okay, so they were the people behind the frog outfit and the hog outfit are different actors.
Right.
Yeah, the reason I ask is oftentimes these low-budget films, people play multiple roles. You haul equipment up and downstairs, right?
Oh, no, I never played anybody else but me.
Gotcha. So here's a question for you. I find you to be a really funny and talented individual, and when I look at your IMDb, you disappear in, I think, 1999. Where have you been for 15 years?
Well, it was like I took a 13-year break because I worked for my father in the family restaurant, and things came to a head where I couldn't break away for auditions as easily as I could, and had to stop. Missed auditions. My manager was pissed at me, and I just slowly faded out of it. to start paying the bills. You know what I mean? Because you take a day off for an audition, there goes a whole paycheck for that day.
Yeah, no, it's called life.
Yeah. So then people, when I joined Facebook, people from around the world just started saying, hey, you're Ox, this and this and this. Why aren't you acting anymore? So they kind of sparked me, and parts of my family kind of sparked me. So I gave it another, gung-ho, and I got the commercial with Mila Kunis at the beginning of the year, and then I just auditioned throughout the year to Rejection. I did a short, I did a low-budget movie called Christ Rising for free just to get a part and a new credit. And then by the time of the year, and then I got the Nickelodeon Thunderman's episode where I play the handyman. So hopefully I'll come back for that.
Has that happened yet?
Yeah, I taped that. That's good.
Oh, excellent. And you have any idea when that airs?
They told me in the spring.
Okay.
So if they get renewed, which I don't know if they have yet, there's always a chance that they could bring characters back, such as the handyman.
Awesome.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. That'd be really great to get a reoccurring role on another show, right?
It would be great. I got a picture of that, but I can't post it until they air it, otherwise they could sue me.
Yeah, you don't want them to do that.
No.
Yeah. But when you see it, it's pretty hilarious.
So are you going to be appearing in any films soon?
Well, like I said, the Christ Rising, when he gets that cut up, he's a director named Ron Atkins. I guess he's controversial from some stuff he's done. You might want to look him up.
Okay.
Okay.
But this is his pet project that he's been shooting on and off for 2 years. It's like a world where the Rapture meets martial arts.
Oh, awesome. So this is a part in which you play a preacher, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I play he describes it as a nightmare sequence where the lead character, he walks into a little general store and he meets me as a scumbag, like general store guy. And then he wants to know where the church is. So I point him the way of the church. He goes to the church and I'm the pastor. And I look totally different.
That's funny.
I'm clean cut. It's crazy.
No, I could see you playing an over-the-top Sunday pastor, actually. That would be a lot of fun.
Well, the pastor was very low-key, but the store clerk was over the top. And I actually put an aluminum hat on my head like I'm expecting aliens.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so we'll see how that turns out after the cut,
So, Iris, do you have anything else for Troy?
No, not really.
What about you, Troy? Do you have any, you have a website, YouTube channel, or anything else you want to share with our listeners?
You know the YouTube channel because you posted it, and I like people to check that out, and I like them to subscribe to it because I've been making my own funny videos throughout the year, which I think are funny. And you thought the one with the donuts was the funniest.
It's hilarious.
I like the one. I like the one with the. Did you see the red box?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, it was great. And your lemonade stand was good too.
And the lemonade stand, yeah.
Okay, I have to say that I didn't know that they made blow-up Hanukkah things with the dreidel.
Neither did I was not expecting that. I drove by our house, I saw that, and I braked, and I went just immediately to the lady. I said, can you please just help me out? I'm an actor, I have a YouTube channel. And she's like, oh, yeah, sure. So we just did it like, gung-ho on the way to my work. And then I just, it was just one take, and that was it.
Yeah, another one I get a laugh out of is your Christmas one as well.
Oh, yes.
Where the lady comes out of the house and scares you away with a broom, I think it is, or something like that. You're a very funny individual, Troy. That's what I have to say.
Well, besides being the lead role in Kung Fu Rascals, there's another movie on my YouTube channel called Kill Kill Overkill, directed by who I talked about before, Donald G. Jackson. And I play the lead psycho with my slightly retarded brother, and we go around terrorizing young women. And it was seen on USA Up All Night a few times.
And what's it called? Kill Kill Overkill?
Yes, I'd like you to check that out if you get a chance.
Absolutely. So for our listeners, you want to first watch Kung Fu Rascals. It's on YouTube. It's on Troy's channel. Go there. There'll be a link to that in the show notes. And Kill Kill Overkill. That'd make a great double feature on a Saturday night, I think.
Yeah. Have you seen Shrunken Heads?
I have. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I watched a lot of the full moon stuff when I was subscribed to that channel for that short time. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, Shrunken Heads was one of them. That's actually where I think I first saw your name on, I think it might have been Street Soldiers. It may have been another one of the films that you were in. I'm not sure.
Did you watch that yet?
I have not watched it yet, no. But Iris and I plan on possibly following up later this year with that one.
Sweet.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we love digging into stuff that most people ignore. So, and honestly, I would love to see Kung Fu Rascals re-released on, whether it be DVD or Blu-ray. I'd love to see a cleaned up print of this film.
Les Claypool has been working on that. and he's actually pissed off a little that I put it on my YouTube channel because he thinks it's going to hinder his sales. But, Steve Wang gave me full permission, and I'm very proud of it. So, I hope it does come out on the Blu-ray. I will buy it.
Yeah, and I highly doubt it'll have an effect on any sales, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'd be first in line for it, too. Again, the YouTube version is a very watchable version of the film, but I would love to see this thing cleaned up.
Yeah.
Troy, I think that's all we have for you tonight. Thanks for joining us. We very much appreciate it.
Yes.
Awesome. I had a great time, and I'm looking forward to listening. By the way, am I eligible for the Exorcist thing?
Absolutely. All you got to do is send in an email once we post up that question that I'm going to be asking people. So.
Okay, then.
Yeah, you could work for me, and you'd still be eligible. I just give shit away.
All right.
So we will certainly promote this episode and Kung Fu Rascals as well in our Facebook group once it's released. Hey, it's been a blast speaking with you. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you for the attention. I really could use it trying to boost my career back up there.
Well, trust me, this won't do it, but we're keeping our fingers crossed.
All right.
Well, have a good night.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening, but they fought with expert timing. There were funky Chinamen from funky Chinatown. They were chopping them up, they were chopping them down. It's an ancient Chinese art, and everybody knew their part. From a fainting to a slip, and a kicking from the hip. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. Yeah. But they fought with expert timing. There was Funky Billy Chin and Little Sammy Chung. He said, "Here comes the big boss. Let's get it on." We took a bow and made a stand. Started swaying with the hand. A sudden motion made me skip. Now we're into a brand new trip. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening, but they did it with expert timing. Oh yeah.
Okay, well, welcome back, and here is the synopsis for Kung Fu Rascals from me, a master thief named Chen Chow Mein. I love that name.
Yeah, it's made me hungry.
Steals a map, and with his friends Repo and Lao Tse, set off to find the power most big.
Was the synopsis on the IMDb kind of wacky, or was there not one?
There was not one.
Yeah, and this has a high rating on the IMDb.
I kind of noticed
it's like almost 7 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people have voted for it, but anyway.
Well, whoever did, I really liked it.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, so Kung Fu Rascals was directed and produced by Steve Wang, and what's interesting is that it was based on a series of 8mm short films that he had done years before.
Right, we learned that in the interview from Troy.
Okay, so let's move into the cast. We have Steve Wang as Chen Chow Mein, Troy Fromin as Lao Tse, Johnny Seiko as Repo. We have Les Claypool as Sheriff of Tsinghua County, the evil Ted Smith as Darling, the Bamboo Man from Kapow, and the Meta Spartan. We have Aaron Sims as Ba Foon. Love these names.
Yeah, they're very creative.
Wyatt Weed as Rasputin, the Mad Monk, and Cleve Hall, the Old Wise Guy. So if you've got the trailer, hit it.
I'll play that right now.
Chen Chow Mein and his comrades must become masters of the ancient art of Kung Fu. They must master 3 things: speed, balance, and precision.
precision.
The Adventures of the Kung Fu Rascals.
Say what? You let him escape with the Sunstone Nebuchadnezzar?
Monty Python searched for the Holy Grail.
It's just a mere plaque of stone.
King Arthur searched for Excalibur.
I want him alive, for this thief now has the key to a power most big.
Now,
did you get the map?
Their search has begun.
They don't call me Master Thief for nothing.
A search for something out there.
You will come upon a power most big.
Tell us more.
3 joined together. The key is closer than you think. This better be good.
The sheriff of Chinhua County has the thief and his accomplices in his clutches.
Get him!
Going somewhere?
Yeah! Summon Neo Titan.
A mystical treasure, a noble quest, and 3 fools to face the ultimate test.
3 things gotta join together to form the key.
The gingerbread man!
Of the Kung Fu Rascals, in the tradition of Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and the 3 Stooges, comes the Adventures of the Kung Fu Rascals.
It's just another day of Kung Fu fighting.
So, Mike, when do you recall seeing this film for the first time?
I saw it for the first time roughly 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then obviously I watched it this last week for the show. What about yourself?
About a week ago.
Fun film.
Oh, yes, it is.
I only have one issue with the movie, and we'll discuss that towards the end of the episode. But overall, a film I highly recommend. A lot of fun. And if you like the 3 Stooges and whatnot, this movie is for you.
Oh, totally. All right, so then let's go ahead and discuss the film.
Sounds good.
So our movie starts out with a boar-like creature named Rasmutant the Mad Monk reporting to his master, the Bamboo Man from Kapow, God, this is hilarious, on a plan to take over a Shaolin temple. He also reports that a thief has taken off with the Sunstone, which in turn angers the Bamboo Man, because this is a key to rule the land.
Right.
And it is to find the power most big. It's hilarious.
That's funny.
And they're like, say what? I love that when Big does that.
I mean, when you watch this film, you might, with all the names and the pokes and you might find it slightly racist, I think.
Just a tiny bit, but, you know.
But it's all done in good fun. You know, they're not poking fun at any one race, but
no.
Mostly there's a bunch of white people in this making fun of the Chinese, I think.
Yeah, it's tastefully done.
Yeah.
Okay, so our thief, Chen Chao-mein, is running and finds himself fighting for his life in the valley of the Yoko Onis.
And again, you know, this is not again, I'm going to say it right now for the first time, but this is really a parody of Chinese cinema.
Yes, it is.
And it's really done well.
And I love how the Yoko Onis, the way their hair is on.
It's funny.
Kind of reminded me of someone I don't know. Okay, so next we meet Lao Tse, who idolizes Bruce Lee, and he's wearing his black wig and trying to look like his idol, and Repo, and we find out that these
guys, he's got these prosthetics attached to his eyes to give him slanted eyes, which is pretty funny. I mean, they come off pretty quick, but the whole idea is kind of hilarious.
And we also meet Repo, who seems to be kind of like, I don't know, probably not the smartest one.
I don't think any of them are overly intelligent.
No. And we find out that these guys are the cohorts of Chen Chow Mein. And Chen has the map, and they are off to find the power most big. So what we do is next we find our heroes at a sushi bar, where we are introduced to the sheriff of Tsinghua County and his two hench gays.
Yeah, it's funny.
Dar Ling
I love the
and
fact
Ba
where one of yeah. I'm sorry. Repeat those names.
Dar Ling and Ba Foon.
And I love how one of them pulls out a fan, and the opposing one of the three rascals pulls out a bigger fan. He's all That's super funny.
Oh my gosh. So basically, Rasputin has charged the sheriff with capturing Chen. And we have this fun Western bar scene, Asian style. It's the typical, the two gunfighters talking and giving shit to each other. But it's also like Chinese kung fu movie style because there's all this bravado.
I will warn the listeners that if you're expecting actual real kung fu in this film, you may be disappointed because I don't believe there is any.
Well, it's choreographed very well, but real kung fu, no. At least kind of.
It's the same type of kung fu you'll get in while watching Raw Force.
Yes, exactly.
That's a good comparison, right?
Very good comparison. So we don't get to see the fight per se, but you get an idea that something epic is happening, and the heroes walk out with the bad guys all knocked out and them saying their little trademark, just another day of kung fu fighting.
Right. And that's why I played that tune coming out of the interview.
So they go visit this the old wise guy that gives them the usual, you will suffer many trials, but will triumph in the end speech. And I thought this was a funny scene because it reminded me of the Three Stooges in a haunted house, basically.
Or the Little Rascals in a haunted house.
Yeah, or the Little Rascals. Oh, good one.
Yeah.
So basically what he does is he tells the three that the location they seek is 2 stones, 1 pebble, and a hip-hop away. And I love Troy's character. He's like, what the hell is a hip-hop?
Yeah.
Of course, Repo, the one that's not, I think, the dumbest of them all, goes, oh, that's just a 3-day. So how he knew that, who knows?
The funny thing about the whole hip-hop line is hip-hop at this time in 1992 was at like the inception of its era.
Yes,
and
it was.
Wasn't really a big thing.
Mm-mm.
So these guys were on top of their game in terms of pop culture.
Yeah, and the writing in this is lots of fun.
Yeah, it is.
So as they journey to the location, we see more Three Stooges goofiness and kung fu training. Like there's one scene where I think it's Chen is peeing in this little brook, and down a little further, Repo is filling up his little watering can and drinking water. Weird. It's just kind of cute and fun.
Right.
So this time, while relieving himself, and it seems to be Repo's thing, he's attacked by Imperial ninjas. And this is where we see the first kung fu type of fight. Or I should say martial art type of fight.
Yeah.
The choreography is decent here, don't you think?
It's okay. It's average. It's acceptable considering the scope of the film and the budget and the experience behind the film. Yeah.
And during the fight, Chen breaks the map and gives a piece to each one of them. What happens here now, though, is Lao gets captured by the ninjas and taken to the sheriff. And they do find the piece on Lao, and they plan to torture the information out of him. And here's another funny scene where we see the Imperial master torturer. And the poor guy, what they do is they take his Bruce Lee wig and they start cutting it up, and he's like screaming, no!
Yeah, it's pretty funny that he wears a wig. He's a blonde-haired guy.
Oh, he's very blonde in this.
He's wearing a wig throughout most of the movie, and he's not too happy when they take that wig.
No, and to add, insult to injury, they put a huge bozo wig on him.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that big clown wig.
So Chen and Repo,
that's pretty funny.
I know, go to rescue Lao, and we get another martial arts fight scene, and this time we actually get to see the sheriff and Chen fight. And this is almost 50 minutes into an hour and 45. So I think probably we should leave it here because the rest of the movie from here on out, I think it's really, really good. At least for me, because I like this type of movies.
Yeah, I mean, the whole film is highly entertaining.
It's extremely entertaining.
You know, it's a parody of a lot of Chinese chopsaki films that came in the 70s and 80s. And I think this one parodies those fairly successfully, you know. Mark and I just covered a Transylvania Twist on Hollywood Upside Down, and we scored it really high. And we actually compared it to Young Frankenstein, and it being every bit as good as Young Frankenstein. Now, I'm not comparing this movie with Young Frankenstein or Transylvania Twist, but this movie has those elements.
Yeah, it does. It's lots of fun. I mean, you could sit down and watch this with your kids because it's not...
It's a family-friendly film.
It is.
And I'll touch on this in my final thoughts, but it's got some Ray Harryhausen-esque giants in it, which, wow, really well done. Mm-hmm. Like how they pull this off.
It is. And I'd have to say that also the makeup that was done in this, and Steve Wang was also part of the makeup that was done for this movie, exceptionally well.
Yeah, and we learned in the interview that's kind of what he went on to do and does today.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the dude's got, he's made sculptures for Blizzard, and they had it out in their front.
Yes, that's right.
So, yeah.
Very talented individual.
Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and end the synopsis there.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, do you have anything else to say?
Not yet, I don't know.
Okay, so let's go on and move on to the badasses, boobs, and body counts. Badasses, Mike?
There are a variety of badasses in this film, but I'm going to give it to the guy we talked to earlier in the show, Lao Zi. Is that how you say his name? Lao Zi?
Lao Zi.
Lao Zi. I'm gonna give it to that character. Okay. He's our guest first off, and he doesn't really know kung fu in the film.
No, but
his kung fu is not very good, but he's kind of a badass in the movie.
He is a badass. I mean,
he falls into the badass. He accidentally falls in. I don't even know how to say this, so I won't.
Okay. Well, I think he's kind of like a badass because he's trying. He's learning, and he's throughout the movie. You keep hearing him go over the three. Speed, agility, and what was it?
Right. Those are the priorities.
The priorities, right? And there's one scene that he does very much like Bruce Lee when he has the three ninjas and he's throwing punches. It was really good. Well done. So, yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, and between the three characters in the film, well, he's the white guy, the other two are Asian. He's the most unlikely martial artist of the three. But he accidentally falls into that role, is what I was trying to say.
Okay.
So, I mean, for me, he kind of accidentally falls. It's an accident that he becomes the badass in this movie. So that's who I'm giving it to. What about yourself?
Same thing.
Okay, awesome.
Lousy. Okay, so boobs, none.
No nudity in the film. Again, it's kind of a family-friendly fantasy film.
Yeah, and I'd have to say the body count, I'm going to say 1, assumed.
Assumed because, I mean, was the guy knocked out? Did he die?
No, well, there was a lot of knockouts.
Yeah, there's a lot of people getting beat up, but not necessarily dying.
Right. This one assumed, I'm saying it's an assumed kill because he ends up being the beast at the feast.
Right.
So we'll say 1.
Okay.
Do you recommend
honestly, I forgot to count, so.
Do you recommend this?
Yeah, I highly recommend this film. It's on YouTube. It doesn't cost you anything. I mean, we kind of learned in the interview that there's potential for a Blu-ray coming out, which I will buy.
Oh, totally.
The quality of the quality of the YouTube copy affects my score. So, but we'll talk about that when we get to the ratings. But yeah, I would recommend it. What about you?
Totally. I would definitely recommend this. It's lots of fun.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go ahead and rate the film. Your final thoughts, please.
So I watched this twice for the episode. Both times I was thoroughly entertained. You have friendship, there's fantasy, martial arts, action, and comedy all rolled into one epic film. And I say epic because, I mean, you have to consider the budget. I think Troy mentioned like $30,000.
Mm-hmm, something like that.
Something like that. And the scope of this film, wow, it's huge.
Especially the end.
Especially the end. It's not something we've touched on, but this film shouldn't have turned out as good as it did, considering the money it took to make.
Yeah, and well, like you had mentioned also in the interview, the sound and the editing that they did was very
It plays a
good.
big part of this film's success. So near the end of the film, you do get a nod to Ray Harryhausen. That's actually far better than what Ray Harryhausen did in his day. Now, Harryhausen set new standards, of course, because none of that stuff had ever been done before. And this is not stop motion. I'm not sure what the technology.
It's Godzilla's suit. It's Godzilla, basically.
But it definitely is a suit. So, okay, yeah, that would be it. But these big giants, they move in a way that is very convincing. You know, it's really well done. And, you really have to be creative to pull something off like this successfully. The only real problem I have with the movie is the runtime. Comes in, 1 hour and 45 minutes?
Yeah, about.
And I really think that, there are a multitude of scenes of fighting. You could easily shave 10 minutes off to give the film a better pace.
I agree with you.
I would say present me with a cleaned up DVD or Blu-ray of the film, and I'd come in with an A. That's how much I like this movie.
Wow.
But because of the quality of the print that I watched, and I think that it's a tad too long, I'm going to come in with a solid B. What about you?
I am going to come in just a little higher with a B+, because I totally enjoyed this film. The first time I watched it with my son, and we were having fun. It felt like we were watching, he said it was like watching a Power Ranger film with like one of the Kung Fu films that we used to watch when he was a kid. And he says this has everything that somebody of my age loves to watch.
I'd have to look, and I'm lazy, so I'm not going to look, but I think Steve Wang worked on the Power Rangers. So maybe that's why it feels that way.
It probably. Actually, there was, he was credited for one of the 1990 movies.
Okay.
So yeah, he was part of the Saban group. But anyway, so you have all those elements. It's fun to watch. You've got decent fighting in there, but for me, what makes the movie is the very end scene with these two titans fighting and
really well done, right?
Oh, extremely well done, and and I also got the nod to Ray Harryhausen there. I was like, wow, this is amazing, and that's why I'm giving it such a high score.
The thing about it is you don't expect to see this at the end of this micro-budget film.
Not at all.
It's a nice surprise to see these huge, epic giants battling like they do.
Yeah, and like you said, the copy on YouTube, it's a bit dark, and at some points it was kind of hard to see what was going on, but I can't wait to see this on Blu-ray. I really hope this happens.
Yeah, I do too. I certainly would be one of the first in line to buy it. All right, so if any of you have seen Kung Fu Rascals and would like to comment on our thoughts, feel free to call the voicemail line at 702-751-7469 and let us know what you think of the film or how we rated it. That's it for episode 111. Next week, we're going to be looking at Edward Murphy's Raw Force, a.k.a. Kung Fu Cannibals from 1982. This film has a little bit of everything in it. It's got martial arts, zombies, cannibal monks, tons of nonstop action, and tons of hot, naked, beautiful women, right?
Yeah.
I mean, wow, excessive nudity. I love it. And they're all naked, so
yes,
they don't have any clothes on either.
They're naked.
They're naked. Let's go ahead and take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll close the show and say goodbye. Coming out of the break, you're going to hear the trailer for Raw Force. We'll be right back.
This show is now available on Stitcher Smart Radio. Just search for BBandBC Podcast and start listening. Stitcher allows you to listen to shows directly from your iPhone, Android phone, or your Kindle Fire on demand and on the go. Don't have Stitcher? Download it for free today at Stitcher.com or in the app stores. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio. Are you tired of the same old stuff Hollywood puts out week after week? You know, all those less than appealing remakes? Those films with over-the-top CG and no storyline? Well, we don't have to take it anymore thanks to the 2015 B-Movie Celebration.
Polyscope Media presents the 9th annual B-Movie Celebration. In 2015, we're going to go back in time, back to 1985 to be exact. The 9th annual B-Movie Celebration will feature the following films from this time period.
Fright Night,
Malibu Express,
The Last Dragon,
Invasion USA,
Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins,
Return of the Living Dead,
Trancers,
Reanimator,
Morons from Space,
The Stuff,
Life Force,
DEFCON 4,
Damnation Alley,
Better Off Dead,
Godzilla 1985. Along with those 80s classics, we're going to showcase The Blob from 1958 and Death Race 2000 from 1975.
So pack those bags, recharge that flux capacitor, and join us for the 9th annual B-Movie Celebration on August 14th, 15th, and 16th, 2015 at the Brown County Playhouse in Nashville, Indiana.
For updated information on this event, bookmark the bmoviecelebration.com website using your favorite browser, and we promise to have you home back in time.
Titles mentioned in this promo are subject to change without notice.
The Badasses, Boobs, and Body Counts podcast is an official sponsor of the 9th annual B-Movie Celebration.
Looking for something different in your podcast library? Then why not check out the Podcast Under the Stairs? I'm the host, Duncan McLeish, and joining me each week will be a special guest as we examine some classic, old-school horror favourites, as well as some modern classics. That's not to say that we don't tackle some of the, let's say, more questionable entries into the horror genre. And if all that wasn't enough, we have a subset of shows called Baz v Horror, where our horror novice, the Baz, tackles horror in all shapes and forms to see who will come out victorious. So what are you waiting for? The show can be found at podcastunderthestairs.wordpress.com and on Stitcher and iTunes. The Podcast Under the Stairs is a proud member of Legion Podcast Network. This is Duncan McLeish from Under the Stairs, signing off.
Big John Taylor, mercenary, soldier of fortune. He's more than a man. He's a walking death machine. Candy O'Perrin, sexy undercover cop. Her deadliest weapon is her body. Mike O'Malley, Hollywood's top stuntman. What do you want us to do? Fight our champions. Only this time the action's for real. And Rick Chan, black belt, primed for action with one blow. The death blow. Only 2 words describe the power and fury of this unstoppable team. Raw force. Join them as their carefree vacation cruise turns into hell on the high seas. What was that? Final port of call. Warrior Island. Uncharted and unexplored. We should not be here. Burial grounds for martial arts masters from the past. Their resting place is defiled. They rise from the dead to avenge their honor. Who will win? The living or the living dead? Join John Dresden, Gillian Kesner, Jeff Binney, Raymond King, and Cameron Mitchell. As they band together with the incredible power of raw force, untamed and unleashed to kill.
All right, welcome back. Our website's located at badassesboobsandbodycounts.com. You can listen to all of our current and past episodes from that website. Our Facebook group can be located at facebook.com/groups/BBandBC. Please join the group to talk about the films we cover every single week. You can leave a voicemail by calling 702-751-7469. We want to hear from every last one of you.
Please.
You can send us emails or MP3s to the following email address, bbandbcpodcast@yahoo.com. We want to hear what you think of the films that we cover or the show in general. Please look for us on iTunes and Stitcher Smart Radio by searching for BBandBC Podcast. If you're getting the show from the iTunes store, please take a moment to rate and review the show. A positive 5-star rating would be terrific. We haven't had any reviews in 2 or 3 weeks, so we'd like to see a new one up there.
Oh, please. That'd be nice.
More than 1 star.
Yeah.
A big thanks to Troy Fromin for joining us on this episode. A genuinely funny guy, right?
Oh, I loved him.
I mean, he spoke to us without any pants on. Come on.
I know. And he was just listening to my sexy voice.
I think maybe he might have liked mine a little bit more.
Probably.
I don't think so. So, Troy, it was a blast speaking with you, and you made this otherwise boring episode a little more interesting. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And we want to thank the listeners for tuning in week after week.
Mm-hmm.
It's people like you that make Iris the man she is today.
That's right. With my Kawasaki vibrator. Rum, 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 rum.
Say goodbye, Iris.
Goodbye.
See you later, sexy people.
You've been listening to the Badasses, Boobs, and Body Counts podcast. This podcast is available through iTunes and Stitcher Smart Radio. Just search for BBandBC Podcast to start listening. If you're getting episodes from the iTunes store, please take a moment to subscribe to the show, then leave a positive 5-star written review. If you want to contact the show, you can send an email to the following address, bbandbcpodcast@yahoo.com. Last but not least, you can follow the show via Twitter @Digital Horror.